This video presentation is brought to you by Artcrete Incorporated. Visit us on the World Wide Web at artcrete.com. This video contains an overview of stenciled concrete, followed by detailed application procedures. This innovative new process is a simple and inexpensive technique used to transform ordinary concrete into beautiful brick, slate, stone, or tile patterns. The concrete is placed as normal and bull floated. The stencil is cut and laid across the slab and rolled into the concrete. Color hardener is broadcast over the slab and worked in with a float. The desired finish is then applied. When the concrete is cured sufficiently, the stencil is removed, leaving the brick raised in relief, without the expense or problems associated with real brick. For complete application instructions, please stay tuned. The following installation demonstrates how to obtain both texture and accent color by using powdered release agent and an interchangeable texture roller. A beautiful stone-like finish can be achieved by following the methods shown on this tape. Methods vary somewhat from pattern to pattern, but the general guidelines are the same. It is extremely important that the formwork be square. If formwork is not perfectly square, partial bricks at the sides and ends may become noticeably larger or smaller from side to side or end to end. Concrete slurry should have a slump of 4 to 5 inches and contain no calcium chloride and no more than 6% of entrained air. It is preferred that entrained air be below 3%. Place concrete as usual. Screed and float in the usual manner. In warm weather, a retarded set water-reducing admixture and surface-applied evaporation inhibitor are recommended to gain more work time. Each finisher should be assigned no more than 400 to 500 square feet per day. After the concrete is placed, the cobble header is laid around the perimeter of the slab, trimmed to fit, and rolled in with a stencil roller. Typically, 1 or 2 passes is sufficient to embed the stencil. Care should be taken not to embed the stencil too deeply, as this will cause undesirable results in the finished product. In this application of the cobble header, the stencil's mortar joint is being placed just inside the form board. Alternate methods will be shown in other sections of this video. After the cobble header is placed, embedded and trimmed, you are ready to place the first course of the Old English cobblestone. Begin laying the Old English cobblestone stencil at one of the sides. The stencil is placed by 2 persons holding either end and lowering the trailing edge onto the surface while holding the leading edge 12 inches to 18 inches above the surface. The mortar joint at the trailing edge of the stencil should lie on the mortar joint of the cobble header border. If the trailing mortar joint does not land properly, lift the stencil and reposition it. Do not attempt to pull the stencil sideways, as this will create wrinkles and distortions. When the trailing edge is properly placed, lower the leading edge onto the concrete. Slightly embed the stencil with a stencil roller. Repeat this process across the slab. Overlap the mortar joints on the trailing edge of the section being placed with a mortar joint on the leading edge of the previous section. Paying special attention to this design feature will assure continuity of the pattern. Other patterns have this feature also, including flagstone, fish scale, and ashlar slate. The stencil is trimmed to fit within the cobble header border. Pass the stencil roller over the surface to slightly embed the stencil into the concrete. 1 or 2 passes should be sufficient. Each section of the stencil is placed in the same manner until the entire surface is covered. Now you are ready to begin applying the color hardener. Before applying the color hardener, protect any surrounding surfaces that could be stained by the color. Also, for your protection, appropriate protection equipment should be worn. The American Society of Concrete Contractors safety standards should be adhered to. Safety glasses, long-sleeved shirt, gloves, approved dust mask, hard hat, and steel-toed boots are required. During color application, all personnel should stay upwind to avoid any unnecessary exposure to dust. Color hardener should be applied at approximately 50 pounds per 100 square feet. This may vary with lighter colors. Generally, 75% of the color is applied in the first application and is floated into the concrete. After this, the remaining 25% is applied, paying special attention to light spots. A contrasting color is applied to the cobble header border and floated in. The color is floated in again for the last time. Release agent in a complementary color is broadcast onto the surface. Only a thin coat is required. A texture roller is rolled over the surface to obtain the desired texture. Timing of this step is important. The texture roller should be applied while the surface is plastic enough to accept the texture, but stiff enough to prevent the texture roller from sinking into the surface too deeply. If the surface is too soft, wait additional time. If the surface is too stiff, add weight to the roller. In this particular application, the texture roller is first rolled across the slab in one direction, and then is rolled across the slab perpendicular to the initial application to give a random texture. Stencils are removed when concrete has set sufficiently enough to bear weight. Do not attempt to remove the chips and debris at this time. After 24 to 48 hours have elapsed, remove the excess release agent and debris. Begin this process by flooding with a low-pressure water hose. This will remove most of the release agent without creating excessive dust. If more release agent color remains than is desired, use a high-pressure washer to remove additional release agent. It may sometimes be necessary to scrub with a stiff bristle brush. In general, the recessed areas created by the texture roller should be highlighted by the release agent color, while the remaining areas show the base color. When sufficient release agent has been removed to give the desired effect, allow the surface to dry and apply the sealer. The next demonstration features a texture roller application with clear liquid release. The cobble header is placed around the perimeter of the slab. In this particular application,